Hey guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Redstone Demystified. In this episode, we're going to be going over redstone clocks, the redstone components that will keep your circuits running in time. Let's go. So first things first, what actually is a redstone clock? Well, a redstone clock is a redstone circuit that gives out a pulse of redstone every set amount of time. So it will switch on the redstone line, then switch it off, switch it on and switch it off automatically every set amount of time. These circuits can be used for a lot of different things, but usually they're used to make sure something occurs automatically every few milliseconds, or they can be used to keep time in complicated redstone circuits. So here are all the circuits we're going to be going over today. These aren't the only redstone clocks out there, there are a lot more, but these are the ones you might actually see being used. I've also added in this big one at the end, which is quite a cool one that I'd like to show you as well. For all of these clocks, I've also added a dropper on the end. Every time the dropper sounds, that means the redstone line has turned back on. This is just so you can get a feel for how quickly it is actually switching on and off. So first things first, we have a repeater loop. This is simply two repeaters pointing opposite directions with pieces of redstone dust connecting them together. This will have one tick where the redstone wire coming out will be switched on, and one tick where it's switched off. A tick, for those who don't know, is 1/10 of a second, so one tick on would be the equivalent of 0.1 of a second. To use this clock, we'd just flick a lever down here and flick it off again really quickly. To switch it off, you'll just need to break one of the redstone lines. However, you have to be careful, because if you flick this lever for too long and switch it off, see, the redstone clock gets stuck and it will not switch on. To fix this, we can add a different way of switching it on. We place a redstone block here and place a torch on top. This switches it on every single time. So to build it's pretty simple. We'll just place 4 solid blocks like this, one repeater pointing this way, one pointing this way, place some redstone dust here and here, block of redstone here, and then your redstone torch on top. Next up we have the repeated torch clock. This is also known as a vertical compact clock. This one is most frequently used on Bedrock Edition because it is the most simple and it is super easy to make. It is also very reliable on Bedrock Edition, whereas some of the other ones aren't so much. A reminder that all the ones I show in this video do actually work in Bedrock Edition. So this one will have 2 ticks when the redstone line coming out the back is on, and 2 ticks when it's off, so 0.2 seconds on and 0.2 seconds off. If we flip this lever, you can see it's a lot slower than the other one, half as fast in fact. But it is super simple, and it doesn't need any of that quick lever flicking that we had before. To build this one, place a V of blocks like this, place a piece of redstone dust here, a redstone torch here, and a repeater pointing into this block here. Then put a lever here and flick it down to switch it off. So for this one, when the lever is off like this, the redstone clock is on. When the lever is on, then the redstone clock is off. So next up we have the comparator clock. This clock is as fast as the one over here, one tick on and one tick off, as you can see. And it is also really simple. The only downside to this is the fact that you have to have 2 pieces of redstone dust coming out the front like so, so that the line is fully off when it is down. To build this, we just have to place a square of blocks, place down a comparator, right-click it to switch it on to subtract mode, place 3 redstone dust like this, and place your lever here, and then just place 2 pieces of redstone dust coming out the front like this. Next up we have a fader 29 pulsar, also known as just a fader 29. This really slow redstone clock has 1 tick where the redstone line coming out is on, and 28 ticks, 2.8 seconds, when it is off. It's called a fader because, as you can see, the redstone signal strength slowly fades away before being suddenly switched back on when it hits 0. This clock is super slow, as you can see. It gives a pulse every 2.8 seconds, so it is better for slow applications. To build this, you'll need to place 4 blocks like this, one comparator this way, and one this way. Connect them with some redstone. Then place a block here, and 2 blocks here. Redstone torch here, and 2 redstone dust here. Then place the lever here to switch it on and off, and then you can have your redstone line coming out the front like this. Next up we have the Ethonian hopper clock, also known as EHC. This one uses hoppers that empty, and then it figures out when one's empty, and then it sends out a redstone signal. This clock will give you 8 ticks on for every single item that's inside, subtract 1 tick. So for here, we have 5 items inside, so we would have 40 subtract 1, 39 ticks when it's turned on. So this one would be turned on for 39 ticks, or 3.9 seconds. And then it will always have 1 tick where it's completely turned off. We can demonstrate this now by switching it on, and it should be roughly 4 seconds total until this one flicks back on. As you can see, like this. To build this one, you need to place a block here, place the hopper going into the block, then place a hopper going into that hopper. Then place a comparator coming out of each of the hoppers, and place a solid block coming out of them. Place a redstone dust on top of the solid block, and then place a sticky piston pointing in like this. Then you can place a block of redstone on top either of these two. Then put in as many items as you want. It should work like so. You can then put a lever on this block or this block to switch it on and off, and you take your redstone signal out of the other block. Next up we have the piston clock. This specific design has 1 tick on and 3 ticks off, as you can see. The total speed is 4 ticks, which is about the same as the repeated torch clock over here. However, the pulse itself is shorter. The speed of this clock can be changed by altering this repeater here. To make this, place 2 blocks and some redstone dust on top. We'll place our lever here. Then place a solid block here with a piston and a block. Then place 4 blocks like this, a repeater here, and 3 redstone dust like this. Now this will be your output line here. Next up we have the Minecart clock. Speed depends on this one, and so it is best suited for just making something go on and off rather than being a precise timing circuit. As you can see, it also usually needs a nudge to set off. It is fairly slow, so it's better used for devices that would need to be at a moderate pace. To build this, you'll first need to make an O of blocks like this. Place a detector rail on one side and a powered rail on the other. Then fill in the rest with rails. This will be your output line here, and you can switch it on and off here. Don't forget to place down a minecart as well. You could speed it up by adding more powered rails and having them switched on. However, I usually just keep it like this, because if it's too fast, the minecart won't have time to be detected every time it goes round, and you'll just end out with 1 signal. Next up, we have the simple observer clock. This will have 1 tick being on and 2 ticks being off. So it is one of the fairly faster clocks on this list. It is really simple, it only needs 1 observer, a few pieces of redstone dust, and a lever. As you can see, it's reasonably fast. You can make this by placing some blocks down, placing down an observer, having a loop of redstone go around the side, and then you can switch it on and off with this lever. So next we have the double observer clock. This has the exact same clock cycle as this one, however it has one major difference, the fact it has 2 observers. This allows us to actually have the output be switched off when the clock is switched off, because here as you see the clock is switched off, but there's still redstone running out. However, this one the clock is switched off and there's no redstone coming out. As you can see, the speed is pretty much exactly the same. To build this, all you need to do is place some blocks, have an observer pointing one way, observer pointing another. Have some redstone dust coming out the back. And then with a 1 block gap, place down a sticky piston like this with a lever. This will be your on-off switch. So there are all the redstone clocks you would usually see inside a regular redstone circuit. These ones are the ones that I would usually use inside my farms, or you might want to use inside a survival world, or inside something like a redstone door, etc. However, now I've shown you all of this, there is actually one more redstone clock I would like to show you, one that's actually quite crazy. And that is the Mhdc. This clock here is effectively 2 of the Ethonian hopper clocks we had before, but strapped together, and one of them uses droppers instead. The way this works is effectively every time that one of this Ethonian hopper clocks goes round, one single item goes from one to the other inside the second one. Now this is extremely slow clock. It can be up to 3.4 real life days until the entire clock will give out any sort of output. This means it is best suited for really slow applications, maybe like some sort of AFK farm or an actual timer. The amount of time between it turning on and it turning on again is x times y times 1.6 seconds, with x being the amount of items you have in this hopper here, and y being the amount of items you have in here. So, of course, the more items you put in, the slower it will be. This here is just with one item in each of these two here, so this is effectively the slowest it can go. This here is the output. Every time it extends is 1 cycle. Of course, you can extend this cycle by adding more blocks in. This one will take quite a few minutes to fully unload, so we can just leave this running until it finally loads. Oh, and about 30 seconds later, there it goes. While I'm not going to be showing you how to build it directly, it is only 1 layer thick, so if you want to build it yourself, here it is from above. So there are all the main clocks used in Redstone. If you did like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. For more videos like this, go and check my channel out down below. If you have any ideas for a video you want me to make in the future, again, write them down in the comments down below. And if you have any questions, also write them down below. I'm happy to help. Anyway guys, see you next time. Bye.